Joelle Fuller.
Here.
Jenny Hagstrom.
Here.
Terry Pavicic.
Here.
Joanna Vasquez Drexler.
Here.
Nancy Kupka.
Here.
Luca Plauskas.
Here.
And Caitlin Vincent. Here. Thank you.
We have quorum. Let's stand for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, student perspectives.
All right, student perspectives. We're going to invite our South students up today, but to introduce them, or our North students up, but to introduce them as our South High principal, Principal Lip, is here because
Well,
our
they're
North High
busy.
principal is busy at the super sectionals. And just a reminder, hopefully we'll get through the board meeting in a timely fashion so we can all get home to watch them. The game is on television on WCIU, so.
Which is what? Is
Channel
that
26.
26?
Yep,
Okay.
yep, so we can all tune in and hopefully
7:30.
catch a lot of the game this evening and cheer for our North High men's basketball team. So with that being said, turn over.
Thank you. All right, so I am standing in for Principal DeVent tonight, but she wrote something that I would like to read on her behalf for our two students that are here tonight representing DECA. So Dr. DeVent writes, "Tonight we have North High students with us representing DECA. DECA is unique because it lives in both the academic world and the extracurricular world. The club is designed for students interested in business and marketing, and they get to compete with kids from all across the state. I'd like to introduce AMNEET Cower and Kate Peterson and the sponsor, Mr. Baca, if he's here, which I don't think he is, but we will celebrate his gifts anyway, to talk more about what DECA is, how they compete in business and marketing, and how it's then benefited the students who participate in this amazing program. So I'm going to turn it over to you, and we're looking forward to hearing about what you have to say."
And whenever you need the slides to advance, just let me know. I'll be your clicker.
Hi everyone, my name's Untitled Chapter and I'm a senior at North.
My name's Kate, and I'm a sophomore at Downers Grove North.
And I'm also the vice president for our Downers Grove North chapter. So DECA is similar to a business club. The acronym stands for Distributive Education Clubs of America. And it does a really good job at preparing us to become leaders and like future entrepreneurs, and it helps us if we want to have future careers in marketing, finance, hospitality, tourism, and entrepreneurship. And it does a great job at having us do public speaking, thinking on the spot, coming up with creative ideas, and efficiently explaining your ideas in a short amount of time. And core values that the National DECA honors itself on are competence, integrity, innovation, and teamwork. And within DECA, there's like individual events, but there's also team events. So that's where a lot of students can work on working with someone else to effectively show what project you're trying to communicate to the judge and whatnot. Sorry.
So why is it beneficial? So it takes things that students learn in classroom and applies them to real world situations, as well as it connects to the business field, which is a huge industry, and those students can take those skills. It also encourages competition, which is always fun amongst different students from different schools, as well as kids from your own school. It also allows students to become accountable in a professional manner, and they gain skills in communicating with others, public speaking, which is a huge one, managing projects, and just expanding their network overall.
And just to add on a bit with that, like I know at North we have a huge business, like a lot of classes in it, and a lot of students who do take it, they really love DECA because it's like they can use the skills they learned in class somewhere outside of class, and DECA is a really good way that students can use the business curriculum taught at our schools to apply that somewhere else. And another thing about the professionally responsible is like I learned a lot about how to dress professionally and like when you have to compete, like how you're supposed to look and present yourself, and that is something that the DECA judges do score you on, so that's also something that kids can learn about, like how to, even for the boys, like a lot of them were learning how to tie a tie and like
Yeah.
those fun skills. I feel like they're super beneficial. At the competition, we do perform at the sectional, state, and national levels, and there's over 40 different competitive events. So there's like, within this club, everyone can find their own niche and whatever they're interested in. So there's 4 main categories. There's entrepreneurship, finance, hospitality, tourism, and marketing. And then within those, there's different types. Like within marketing, there's sports and marketing. Within the hospitality and tourism industry, you can like go into like travel and tourism, or you can go into like hotel, lodging, and management. So there's different areas that students can like go into. There's also like automobile services or retail merchandising. So whatever students are interested in, there's like a place of home within this. And then students also compete in written events. I've done written events in the past. So written events, you can prepare before the competition, and you write a 20-page paper. And for mine, I got to research a local business. I researched Adorn 512 last year, and then this year I researched a local swim natatorium in Westmont, and those are also really beneficial for me. And then at the sectional competition is held in January in Rosemont, and then the state competition, we just had it last week. That's also really beneficial because we got to stay overnight. It was really fun, like making new friends within our chapter, but also like I met a lot of people from other schools, so I really enjoyed that as well. And then last year I qualified for the national competition, but I couldn't go due to like COVID and all of that. But that would have probably been a really fun experience as well.
So why should you join DECA? I mean, as Amneet said, but we get to travel, which is always fun. This year, Nationals takes place in Orlando, and next year it's in California, and then the year after that it goes to Georgia, so it circulates through those 3 places. And as Amneet said also, you get to meet new people. Expanding your network is definitely one of the biggest things, and you learn to step outside of your comfort zone because everyone's there for the same reason. So there's so much to connect on, and you can find similar people within your niche and outside of your niche. And your career, it builds your career. You can put it on college applications. It looks very good in college applications, and you just get to explore things before you actually have to do them in the real world. There's diversity in events, as Amneet said. You get to compete in entrepreneurship, marketing, finance, and hospitality and tourism, and there's so many different ways that you can compete in those. It's also very fun. Like I said, we get to travel, but also after fall leadership, we get to go to Portillo's, and that's always a kicker with the kids. It's always fun going in there in all of our business attire. We get a lot of stares. And it just helps students create an appreciation for the community and what's around them.
Yeah, and then another aspect of community, in the past we've done like blood drives at our school through DECA, and that just like was really I really liked that. We connected DECA to the whole school experience with other students, and yeah, I really enjoyed that as well.
Because like in our school, compared to a lot of other schools, we don't have like the biggest club. We have quite a few people. I think we had like 70 or something this year, which is a huge amount. But not many people know about DECA, like they're not as informed, and some people might think like, oh, it's just a little business club, but like it's so much more than that. And I think, like Amneet said, having these different events to promote DECA really encourages kids to want to join the club.
So this past weekend, from Thursday afternoon to Saturday afternoon, we had state, and we did really well this year. We had 11 students place in top 10, and then we had 4 students place top 4 and qualify for the national competition. It was really good this year. We did, like, compared to last year, we didn't score last year we didn't score very high, but this year we did really good as a group. And it was like we all had a great time. Like before a lot of us were preparing for the exam. So there's a written exam and then there's the role play. So we were all preparing that together, and it was just like great to see how we like all came together and placed really well at state. My experience with DECA, my favorite memory would be this past weekend in the hotel. We had a lot of fun. I roomed with those 3 other girls. We did a lot of fun activities, and we were watching like Netflix in the hotel room in between our events. And then there was like, we all had like events during the day, so that was like the stressful time kind of. But then during our downtime, we had a lot of fun. And then I've done DECA for the past 4 years, and I've had like, I remember my freshman year, DECA State was on March 12th, 2020, so they canceled the field trip right before that. And then sophomore year, we did video role plays. So my junior and senior year were a lot more fun, where we got to stay in the hotel, and I did a lot more of the social aspect of DECA, so I really enjoyed that. And it's impacted me to learn how to be like more professional and like public speaking. With the role plays, there's like the time crunch, so like how to effectively explain something like as quickly as possible and try to get your message across.
So my favorite memory had to be state last year, because it was my freshman year and I didn't really know much about DECA because our sectional competition got canceled. So we basically just got full ride to state, which was really fun but nerve-wracking, because now instead of competing with just a few schools, you're competing with the entire state. And I was one of the only freshman girls, and it was really scary because I didn't know anyone. And it was fun for me because I got to meet so many new people within my chapter, and now I have these friendships that I never thought I would have. I also got to make friends with the upperclassmen like AMNEET, so that was always fun. And since I'm a sophomore, this is my second year in DECA, and it's impacted me just by building connections, like I said, meeting new people and stepping outside of my comfort zone. It really helped me, just honestly. When I'm at DECA, I'm a completely different person than I am when I'm with other people, because these people understand like what I like, and I can talk with them about that. And there's so many different ways to connect with people throughout it. So that's all for today.
Any questions for our students?
Oh, you guys did great. Yeah, yeah.
Great.
Thank you.
What is your biggest area for each of you? Now, you're a senior, Amit, right?
Yeah.
So are you either going to enter the business world or study business? or-
I'm interested in studying economics, so
Okay.
similar to business. But I feel like DECA has prepared me in like there's a difference between like classroom instruction and then having that like actively participating in something outside of school. So DECA's like prepared me to understand like how it would play out in the real world.
And then what's your favorite area? Because I know you're a sophomore, so it's a little
Yeah.
early for you to make a decision.
Well,
but what's your favorite area so far, you
So
think?
both of my brothers, one of them's a junior at Western Michigan University, and he's majoring in sales, and he has an internship in Kellogg's. And my other brother is a senior at Downers Grove North, and he wants to become an entrepreneur. So I kind of was surrounded by that business aspect, like growing up, and I fell in love with like marketing and real estate. I've always wanted to go into the real estate industry, and I know that sales and marketing has a big impact with that. So that's something I want to pursue when I'm older. I've always wanted to go to like Kelly School of Business at IU. That's like my dream. So we'll see if I make it there, but I definitely think DECA helped me so much in finding like what I want to do and like what I love.
When you go to the state competition, how does that work? So you're interviewing, or there's probably a lot of different things that are going on. So maybe tell us just a little bit about your individual experience? Something kind of specific and fun.
Okay, so on Thursday afternoon when we head there, on Thursday afternoons, that's when we take our written exam. So under each of those 4 categories, there's like a cluster exam that's based on like basic business knowledge under that certain area. So I was in hospitality tourism, so I had a hospitality tourism cluster exam, and that was like 100 questions in an hour. And it's like, it's pretty much based on like business vocabulary and how to like deal with customers in certain situations and stuff. And I feel like some of the classes I've taken at North have helped me, so I didn't have to like rigorously study for that. And then on Friday, you're given a schedule of your role play time, so you have to do 2 role plays. You're given any time from 9 to 5 because there's so many kids. And then at that role play, if you're an individual, you're given 10 minutes to prepare and then a 10-minute presentation. And then if you're a partner, you do a 30-minute prep time and 15-minute presentation. And then I also did the written event, so I had my presentation prepared beforehand, and then I gave that presentation on Friday. And then they also, like in the evening, they have fun events. They have like a DECA banquet dinner. It's like a formal dinner. And then at night they had a hypnotist show, so we watched that.
Cool.
And we watched some of our classmates get hypnotized. That was pretty entertaining.
I got hypnotized my freshman year.
And then Saturday is like pretty much, it's like all awards. Or, yeah, so that's pretty much like the DECA schedule.
Impressive.
Very good.
All right, well, thank you for coming out.
Yeah, congratulations.
All right, continuing with student reports. Who's first?
Sure.
Okay.
I was going to say, they
Okay.
could go.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
So, the last month there has obviously been a lot going on with like sports and different events and awards, and all across the board, DGN has been excelling in so many different areas. I could not fit it all on one page, and I didn't want to be sitting here for more than maybe 5 minutes. But to start off, like they mentioned, DECA went to state, which is a great achievement because there are so many individuals who joined this year, and it's great to see that although these clubs might seem small at first, we're all like spreading the word and talking about it and including more individuals and just kind of creating that school community where we're bringing in more people even though they might be shy or have little to none knowledge about those different clubs. And also with that, we also had our varsity scholastic bowl place second in our West Suburban Conference. And following with sports, our boys swim and dive team earned state medals. And then also, like today, our basketball game, which is a very big achievement. And we're top eight. Yes, top 8 in state. And I know so many people are there right now. It's going to be so packed and so fun. So it's going to be great to see that later on. And following with that, there's also our school musical this weekend, March 9th through the 11th, called Chicago. And I know so many individuals in the fine arts area have been working so hard and have been putting in so much effort. I personally know my friends who are in pit band have been putting in several hours a day, almost every single day, just to make this performance amazing. So it's going to be great to see how many people come to that and watch it. And just things around the school, many of our clubs are starting to honor, like, obviously Women's History Month, and also we're going to have a huge event for Culture Week, and many clubs are also putting their ideas in for that. There's nothing final yet, but overall, I know that's going to be amazing because usually we do something really big for these type of, weeks, trying to see how we can represent specific groups in our community. And then also this week, another big thing is our Pretty in Purple fundraiser fashion show, which is going to be so much fun. I'm going to be excited to see how that goes. Usually it's one of our biggest events because we raise so much money and the Booster Club obviously helps with that, and we have so many individuals coming out to have a little fun and show off their little modeling skills and everything like that. And lastly, I just wanted to say, although like I personally know since I'm a senior, there's like the senioritis going on, but I've seen so many people still put in so much effort throughout our school, and students are still trying so hard to keep pushing and getting their grades to be at the fullest potential as they could be. And it's just amazing seeing how our community is still growing and putting in their best effort.
All right. At South, we just had our winter dance, which is really fun because like students can dress up and all dance together and just have fun for the weekend. And it had the most attendance in school history, so a lot more people have come out. So that was really fun to bring that back before COVID. We also have our orchestra show coming up, which is always really nice. I went to it last year and it was so good just seeing all the dancers create their own dances and perform a show. We also, I need to give a shout out to the girls gymnastics team for winning state. That's a huge accomplishment, and I've seen so many pictures and know people on the team, and it's just like, I'm so proud of them for doing that because that is a huge thing for our school. And then we are celebrating Respect Week next week, which is just a week to tell every student that they belong at South and just build our community. I know last year we had a table with a bunch of stickers to give out to students and just games during lunch periods and in the commons, just raising respect and making sure that everyone's just continuing to be kind to one another. And then this past week we had our snowball event combined with North, which is always a fun event for people to attend and get to know not only people at their own school but people at North as well. And I know a lot of my friends went and they loved the DJ part of it and just dancing at night, so again was filled with a lot of fun. And then other than that, we're just trying to get through the last 3 weeks before spring break. I do know the senioritis has been kicking in for me at least, so just trying to get through these past 3 weeks. But other than that, we have a lot to look forward to.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. Moving on. Thank you both. Staffing recommendations.
All right, I'm going to turn this over to Rob.
All right, everybody. Before I get started on this, I just want to remind the board, this machine of figuring out how to do staffing for next year starts in January with students requesting courses. We're still in the weeds on sorting all of that out, but that will come to you at the business meeting in 2 weeks. But there's really two parts to that. There's the part of courses that are selected by students and how we staff those courses. And then there's this other section of staffing that isn't tied to those course selections, but are areas that we've identified are needs for additional staffing in the district. So on the page here on the memo that I wrote for you are the ones that are outside of that sectioning process, needs that we have. So I'll go line by line with you. The first one up there is we've recognized that as special services program and needs have grown, the demand on our department chairs has also grown to the point that most of their role right now is managerial and tasks. And so the instructional leadership part has been forced to be pushed to the side because they're trying to keep up with all of the work that's there. So Scott is working with our special services chairs and our principals to identify some release periods in the form of FTE that we could have some of our other staff who are aspiring to move into leadership roles take on some of those managerial tasks off of the department chairs, so that way the department chairs have more time in their day to be able to lead and push the department forward. So what we have right now, preliminary, is 0.8 FTE. But again, they're working through those details right now to figure out which roles and which responsibilities are going to shift to that. We'll have a final number in 2 weeks of what that FTE is going to be. But right now, we're at a 0.8.
Rob, for this and for the next, when you say like 0.8 or 1,
Yeah.
is that
That for
half and
both
half north and
schools?
south, or is that a total of 0.8?
Yeah, so this is
The 0.8 and
district-wide.
0.8, or?
This is district-wide, right.
Okay.
So
And-
that division right now is a
Thanks.
.4 at each campus.
Okay.
But we're evaluating whether that's what the real need is, once we look at all those duties and responsibilities that would shift over.
So you're anticipating one person to do part-time at South and part-time at North?
Correct. Yep.
And the same with the PATH
No,
coordinator?
PATH is a little different.
So
Rob,
PATH is a
fill-
little different, yeah. We currently have the staff in place for PATH coordinator right now. But at each campus, at South, it's 0.6 FTE and it's 0.4 FTE at North. For this one, what we've learned over the past year is that we really need that employee in there full-time to fully implement this PATH program with fidelity. So right now, what the staff who are in there, the certified staff who are in there, is part of their day is in PATH and coordinating it, and part of it is teaching classes. And that disruption in their day of shifting over to classes and leaving the program, but having a support staff member there is not helping for us to fully implement the PATH program.
So this is a net new position for special services. Like,
Back up to the top?
yeah, back up to the top.
Yep.
How does that align? Like, there are other department chairs, or they be, you know, you're putting in this.
Yeah, so really good question. When you look at the number of teachers that the special services department chair is responsible for and all of the support staff, they're essentially running their own mini schools. So it's far greater than what a normal, regular department chair has responsibility.
Yeah, I asked because we probably wouldn't be able to support that for everyone.
No, there's no need in the other departments
I'm
for
just
that.
saying, so I'm looking for more information now why this one needs.
Yeah, how many more is it at South?
I mean, South has,
Like 17
I think
more
there's,
than our
yeah, it's like
next closest
17
chair?
more certified staff. With all the evaluations and that work, is like Rob was mentioning, you're kind of in the managerial part of it, and it's like the stuff that we need to work on in terms of instructional, looking at our programming. It's hard to get to it.
So it's like 17 more teachers at South in that department versus our next largest department, which is English. Plus, I don't know, how many support staff for supporting special ed at South?
I mean, yeah, I'd have to get the numbers, I mean, we have, I think in the district support staff, we have like over 75 support staff, like paraprofessionals, that are just being managed by our special ed chairs, so.
And one of the things we'd like to do next year is evaluate, Scott's gonna lead the charge with that team at looking very closely at some of our instructional programming with our chairs. But if we're gonna have them take on that leadership in program evaluation of our instructional programming, we need to take some things off of their plate to make space for that work to happen. So, this is what we're looking at to try to make that work.
I think it's good to kind of have that discussion so that
Yeah,
people understand.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the bottom three there are all related to T99 and the growing of the T99 program. The first one is, we'd like to create another LEA position, but it's specifically for T99 to assist Lisa with the outplacement. So that would be a district outplacement coordinator. When she came in, there weren't as many as there are now, and so that just keeps growing and growing and growing. We also have a need for an additional teacher based off of the projections that Scott has. So that's the second to the last line. And then also the services needed another 0.4 FTE for a speech language pathologist to be over there at T99.
So we have growing special education needs across the district. I asked him to pull some data for you tonight as we talk about this, so can you share what you?
Yeah, so like T99 currently this year has 60 students, right around 60, and we're going up to a little bit over 70 next year for the school year. So there's where the teacher ask is on the line item there. And then we're actually going up roughly 10 every year after that till we peak out at 90 to 100. So another reason why we're building onto the building to accommodate that. So we will be, down the road asking for another staff member to manage and support all the students. And then in the buildings, I pulled numbers from 2020 for North, 220 special ed students, and at, if I could read with my glasses, 288. So from 220 to 288. Next year, the North is looking to bring back our directive programming, which supports our students with emotional disabilities. Years ago, we were running low numbers in that, so we kind of moved away from that, and we were using South's program. But there's enough students to support that, and the increase obviously is over 60 students from 2020 to now. And then at South, we were at, in 2020, 333 students, and we're at 356 this year. And a lot of the next year is we're adding another classroom for our multi-needs. So our multi-needs numbers are going up, which will then eventually feed into T99. So it kind of all is, working together there to support those numbers,
So this is a little preview. You're seeing some of this in what we've called the below the line, the non-tied to the sectioning process of FTE. But those numbers are kind of a prelude to what you're going to see in the above the line around sectioning when we come back in another couple of weeks in growing enrollment in our special education programs. So this kind of dovetails with what you'll see the next time we present.
Our projections for that growth are based on looking at
Enrollment.
where the,
The feeders go.
yeah, so I don't,
for special ed.
yeah, how are we projecting that we're at 10 more, and peaking at 90?
Oh, at T99?
Yeah, T99,
Because
sorry.
there are current students now. Remember, T99 is grades 18 through 22. So you can look at how many enrolled freshman year and then where they'll be, assuming they stay with us, which they tend to do, what those numbers will be down the road.
How many actually stay for all, so there's like
It's 6 years.
6 years of
Yeah, up to 6 years.
Okay.
So it's
They go
grades
till
9 through 12,
22.
and then for 2 to 3 years,
Right, 'cause they'd be
depending on their
22.
age.
22.
Yeah. Age 22 is what they can stay with us until.
And what was your question?
So I was just,
What was
I mean, I know some students choose not to go through the entire program leave before they've completed.
Yeah, I
it,
would
so-
say I don't have that exact number, but honestly, the number's really low. They all usually go to transition.
So we're looking at how many students we have right now in the.
And when did they start transition planning as part of the IEP?
Well, I mean,
process?
it actually starts in 8th grade, usually for most students. It's like 14 and a half of age.
So
and then
transition
that carries
planning-
over to 9th grade through then, all the way through T99.
So part of the individualized education plan is transition planning, Scott, that starts at age 14 and a half. At that point, you're starting to build a plan for post-high school graduation planning, that transition between high school and life. So that window right there is our T99 program. So at age 14, they're already building in expectations of what's going to happen at T99 post-graduation. So it's somewhat easy for, now that's, revisited every 3 years in
Well, every year
full totality, but
yeah,
every year we
every year
touch
we have an
base
annual
on
review.
that.
Yep.
So, it's pretty easy to project out.
Has there been a trend in terms of uptick of people moving into district that need the services?
I mean, my theory on this is District 99 and Downer South years ago used to be the hub for all of DuPage County for special ed programming in like the multi-needs area.
I didn't know that.
And, yeah, and so I think, I mean, I get calls all the time being like, yeah, we're moving into the area where our child's gonna be in 5th grade or 3rd grade. We wanna get to Downers South or Downers North for the programming. So I think we're just kind of a hub for it. And we provide great support. The board has always supported
Absolutely.
special ed programming. It's huge,
Yeah.
but, I mean, it's great services.
Well, that's the right thing to do.
Our parapros are amazing.
And the additions you've made have more than pay for themselves. I mean, we've kept a lot of people internal and.
Right, right, and we always look at those numbers and bringing back students from outplacements, and,
Yeah.
you know, it does ebb and flow, like, next year I know is, the outplacement's gonna be larger, but, you know, it just is what it is, it's, you know,
Yeah,
and
depends
it's
on
great
the
that we provide the service that we do, so.
So next year's board might be looking at some additional, yeah, based
Yeah, we'll
on,
probably
yeah,
have some more requests.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions? Thanks, Scott.
All right. The next item, I'm going to have Jeff and Scott share a little bit about last Friday's Institute Day that was, well, everybody engaged in Institute Day across the district. However, we ran kind of our own conference for our support staff members on Friday. Jeff and Scott put a lot of work into this with other administrators across the district, and I'll let them share a little bit of what went into it.
Thank you, Hank. And yeah, as he mentioned, this was, kind of a great opportunity. So, how did we get here? Last few years since I've been with the district, Scott and I have worked with, kind of co-chaired a support staff professional learning committee. And I know Maria Giorgio is here. She's the current SSA president and is always a willing participant and helps us lead that committee as well. So I would consider her a co-chair as well. And so it's really a very nice collaborative group. As I said, we have Scott and I are on there. Ken and Omar also make appearances on the committee to help us out as well. And there's a sort of a stable, if you will, or a bench of support staff who come in. A few of them come in pretty regularly. Some make it every once in a while. But Maria's great about making sure that we have SSA representatives so that when we are having these discussions about everything, that it's it's a collaborative meeting and we're discussing and hearing ideas from the people who we're looking to impact. Some of the things we've done, we did a fairly big survey a little over a year ago, checking on the interest and needs of the support staff, and we tried to tailor that sort of line with district initiatives. So we're kind of steering them, saying, here's the things that district's working on. What are some needs and goals you have that sort of fit into that very nicely, so that we could kind of make sure we're meeting needs of our staff while also meeting needs of the district.
Next one.
Yep, please. So just real quick, just to give you a peek at this, this is, I know it's hard to read, but this is just the schedule that we put together for everyone. We started the day at about 7:30 in the morning. We were truncated a little bit. We were supposed to go till 3, but if you could see that, you'll see it. It says 1:30. That was with the impending weather, so we were, safety precaution there. But we were able to still have our full morning plans, which we had 3 different keynote speakers that we brought in for our support staff, focusing on a few different topics that are of importance to the district. We also had some continental breakfast. They had a chance to network, meet folks from across the district that they normally wouldn't interact with. There was also lunch provided, again, with that same purpose of giving a chance to have those professional conversations about what they had just experienced with their normal colleagues, as well as the folks that they don't see on a regular basis, I should say. And we had some afternoon sessions, again, tailored toward some of the feedback that we had from staff, that these are things that they would like to know more about. So a little more on our keynote speakers. This really, in a lot of ways, was kind of, a highlight for us. We want to really present this day, as Hank said, all of our teachers were doing various things on this Institute Day, and they get to always participate in really nice professional development with high-quality things going on. So we said to ourselves, well, we really want to take this opportunity. The calendar presented this opportunity on the 3rd here, where we had this time. We could create a day for our support staff and give them a really top-notch professional development day. So we brought in, well-known, well-recognized speakers in each of their areas. Mr. Jay Shannon, who actually has done some work with our deans in the district already on restorative practices. So he shared some of that information with the support staff. Dr. Don Parker, who specializes in equity training, former CPS administrator. He was working and also CPS, I believe. So he's got some good experiences. He was able to share a lot of practice on how to engage and interact with students with equity in mind. And then Dr. Allison Jackson, who spoke on trauma-informed practices, which of course is ever important now as we're still, dealing with a lot of things coming out of the pandemic and people's emotional and mental states, and how can we best support our students and ourselves with regard to that. So 3 really great presentations that were in the morning. So we had the group was divided up into 3 groups, and they rotated through all 3 of these presentations throughout their morning. And so the next few slides are just some pictures. So here's Jay's presentation. He was really excited about the cafetorium space specifically because he wanted to have very interactive things going on. So you see him there interacting with staff on the right. On the left, he's got the circle of chairs, or he's bringing staff down to kind of model and simulate some things that we can do, having conversations with students and staff around restorative practices. Dr. Don Parker was in the studio theater, and he, while these couple of pictures didn't capture that, but he did a lot of things where there was a lot of turn talk with their partners and things, and going through, what were things that you can encounter with students. He touched a little bit, I thought was really powerful, on the percentages of students who are dealing with situations that are difficult for them, and how the outreach and making sure we're teaching or treating them equitably builds relationships and helps make students be more successful. So that was good. And then Dr. Allison Jackson, again, lots of really great feedback on her presentation. Staff really learned a lot, and there's some really great discussions where staff were even then kind of, examining what had gone on in their lives over the past couple of years and reflecting on that. So we heard some really good feedback and conversation about her presentation as well. So 3 really awesome, top-notch speakers we got in for our support staff that morning to give them, again, a really sound, professional experience. And here's just some other just some photographs of the day. Our support staff, I want to take the opportunity here to just kind of talk about, I know Scott and I have talked about some of the feedback we've just gotten informally at this point. Lots of positive responses. People were excited about the day, felt like they learned a lot, that there was a lot of value in it. So that was great to hear. So, yeah. So the afternoon sessions, we had a few different things going on. So there was Stop the Bleed, which was related to first aid. That was a continuation for a lot of our paraprofessionals from some professional training that had happened early in the year where they had some things that just couldn't all be done in one day. We had some of our ad assistants had interest in e-finance, which was one of the platforms we use. So Dree was gracious enough to facilitate a session on that for us. eSchool, again, another platform we use frequently here in the district. A lot of our admin assistants use that, and Colleen Daly, Jim Struck, and Vicki Miles stepped up, I should say, to offer that training for our staff in those sessions. So I got a chance to walk around and see that going on. And they were fairly small groups, so it was nice to see it be pretty interactive. I actually talked to Colleen a little bit today, and she was really excited about some of the things she was able to do. And we were already talking about what are some things maybe going forward to reinforce what was done or give people more opportunities to connect with questions and things they want to learn about. For those folks, there are some folks, or maybe those 2 weren't really germane to what they do, so we also offered some self-guided Google Suite training, which is pretty comprehensive. Anything you want to know about Google, you can click on it and it kind of walks you through a practice module, so you can get more familiar with that. That's one of those things that always comes back to us. It's like, we want to learn more how to do this with Google, how to do that with Google. And since it's the basis for so much of what we do, it makes sense that we try to help them out with that. Our security team engaged in some emergency response training with their group, and our tech team also did some in-house training around various issues regarding technology in the afternoon as well. So, as I said, it was a little truncated, so not everybody got to do everything that we had planned, but everyone was busy and got something worthwhile out of that afternoon. So in terms of what's next, we're about to send out a feedback survey about these sessions. We also have a couple questions about some of the things that happened early in the year, a couple times that we did some PD for them, just trying to get an overall temperature for how they thought things went and what they want to see happen in the future and any other feedback they have. So as we're looking to the future, how can we further enhance what's going on in terms of the learning for our support staff? Again, the focus is trying to continue this momentum and hopefully continue providing them with high-quality professional development at every opportunity that we have. I think one of the things that kind of came from our committee discussions, I think Maria and Scott, is that a lot of times support staff, they feel like they are, kind of second tier sometimes of the teachers and what's provided for them. And we really want to make sure that our support staff feels like that they are, on equal footing, that we appreciate them and we have a vested interest in their development and making them the best that they can be, because not only does that benefit them, but obviously a lot of them, especially the parapros, are the people who have most direct contact with their students sometimes. We want to make sure that they are as well equipped as possible to do the work they need to do. And also, you know, this is a great opportunity we see is, you know, providing that high-quality professional development, and a day like today kind of showcase that and leverage that as a retention tool for the staff we currently have, and also as a recruiting tool, as we still do have openings in our support staff ranks that we're trying to fill, is trying to create an environment that is attractive, so people say, hey, boy, here's what my district does, District 99, you should come check us out. I know your district doesn't do anything like that. And so we kind of want to do it, because I just spent probably this last week at like 5 different job fairs for certified staff. And the things that people come up and they already know about our district and how excited they are about things they've heard that we're doing, centered around our certified staff and what you can do for teachers. You know, Rob and I've talked about, so we want to try and generate that same kind of buzz and excitement for support staff to help us, again, retain and then recruit new people to fill all those positions. So, yeah, that was a little encapsulation of the day. Overall, I think very successful, so we're all pretty happy.
This is great. About what percentage of support staff came? Was it 100%, 90%?
Yeah, it was a paid day.
It was a paid day.
It was just about everybody who did.
Yeah, we had a good number. I mean, we did have some, I mean, you know, like any type of thing,
Yeah.
when there's a Friday or whatever, you know, there were some people who called sick. We had very good attendance, yeah.
Great.
So, yeah.
We had a couple of staff helping out Snowball as well.
Mhm.
But overall, you know, it was like a normal workday.
I love the idea of, you know, using this as a tool for retention and recruiting. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, you're always, what the best way to attract, you know, great people is to take care of the great people we have. And other people will recognize that. So, well done.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing I'll add to this is, in recent past, Institute Days used to be just teachers. And then we started inviting support staff, particularly our 36-weekers, that their work calendar is usually, they come to work when students are in session. But our August Institute Days, we started inviting them to the Institute Days so they could hear the same messages on some of those Institute Days. And then, when we had late start Mondays before our hybrid block, we were inviting them to learn with the teachers on some of those late start Mondays. And then this is the first year where they were there for our August Institute Days. They were there in January for our Institute Days with our teachers. So we reached a point where we're like, okay, now all adults are learning together at the same time. And then Jeff and Scott said, what if we took it one step further? What if we created an Institute Day just for them? So they didn't feel like this is a day that they're tagged on, that's really for the teachers. It's a day specifically for them. So the two of them worked their tails off and got a bunch of feedback and put this together, and high reviews, so high that Julie saw the agendas and Julie said, can I go and learn with everybody at the same time? So Julie participated in the sessions also.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, wonderful.
This is no small feat, so thank you all.
No,
Thank
it's
you all.
the whole conference.
Yeah,
you know.
thank all your folks for coming.
The quality of your professional development. I mean, that would be a real point for me in finding a job in a school, I have to say, yeah. Because I used to always kind of complain about the quality of the professional development when I was working, because I always felt it was geared more to the teachers and not to the particular area that I served, you know.
Yeah, that's why they planned this day.
I really like
This would be
that.
powerful. And then they can
Very
tell their
much.
friends, right? Like,
Yeah.
Yes.
come work in District 99.
Yes.
So that's
Good job.
really good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. And thank your folks for coming.
All
Do we have
right,
any-
no visitors?
No, sir.
No visitor slip?
All right, we'll move on to closed session. We need a motion to go into closed session for the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees, specific individuals who serve as independent contractors in a park, recreational, or educational setting, or specific volunteers of the district or legal counsel for the district, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee, a specific individual who serves as an independent contractor in a park, recreational or educational setting, or a volunteer of the district, or against legal counsel for the district to determine its validity, and collective negotiating matters between the district and its employees or their representatives, or deliberations concerning salary schedules for one or more classes of employees, and litigation when an action against, acting on, or behalf of the district has been filed and is pending before a court or administrative tribunal, or when the district finds that an action is probable or imminent, in which case the basis for the finding shall be recorded and entered into the minutes of the closed meeting.
And I shall
So-
therefore say, so moved.
Second.
Michael moves, I think Sherelle beat you.
Okay, that's fine. I don't care.
Thank you.
As long as we
Mike
get going.
Davenport.
Aye.
Sherelle Fuller.
Aye.
Jenny Hagstrom.
Aye.
Terry Pavasich.
Aye.
Joanna Vasquez Drexler.
Aye.
Krista Espinoza.
Aye.
And Nancy Kupka.
Aye. We'll be going into closed session. We will only be adjourning back when we return to open session.
No action taken.
No actions taken later tonight.
And we'll
Thank
be
you so
in
much.
here. So, quick break and then we'll come back together.
Wonderful.